Thank you, Toastmasters, for all you coming here over here today to this meeting. Anyway, have any of you guys got around to checking the new guidelines for the dietary guidelines that the government just released? Actually, just a couple months ago, they updated it. No? Okay, good. Don't check them out. They're really, I think they're crap, to be honest. And I find it actually very frustrating because this is something that, we have. Well, first of all, we can get a guide to the moon, but we can't get these guidelines right. And this is a serious problem in our country. I mean, kids are getting like diabetes. People are dying of cancer. It's just awful. And I think that it's not because we don't have the knowledge, we're not armed with the knowledge, it's just there's a lot of bureaucracy, the government has other interests in mind, and for one reason or another we just can't get it right. So like really one of the things that I just dislike about it is the whole like dividing up the food pyramid. We have to have a certain amount of each type of food every day. And I think that just overcomplicates things. I have this book here, actually. It's a really good book. It's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. And it was written by this guy. His name is Weston Price, and he's actually a dentist. This was written in like the 30s, I believe. And what this book is about, it actually chronicles his exploration. He wanted to learn about tooth decay. I mean, he was a dentist, and he wanted to learn about it in a lot of these indigenous cultures. And so he went to like almost every continent in the world, studied these cultures, and compared them with the quote modernized people who were living in the country. And ironically, he found out that the indigenous people had significantly lower rates of tooth decay. But how this relates to the food pyramid that I'm talking about is every place on the planet, they all have significantly differing diets, and they don't all eat it from every single food group. And actually, I'd like to share just a couple examples here. And some of this stuff I think will surprise people because some of these foods are stuff that have been demonized. This first one I'm going to share with you is the people of I cannot pronounce it too well, it's called the Lowenschal Valley, which is in Switzerland. Their diet, an average meal would consist of a slice of whole rye bread, a piece of summer-made cheese about as large of the slice of bread, which is eaten with fresh milk of goats or cows. Meat is eaten about once a week, only once a week. And just to illustrate, there's a little quote here about how these people, they were like very, in very good condition. He says, the hardihood of these people is splendidly illustrated by a woman of about 62 years who carried an enormous load of rye on her back at an altitude of about 5,000 feet. We met her later and talked to her and found out that she was extraordinarily well-developed and well-preserved. She showed us her grandchildren who had fine physiques and facial developments. Now, another example, one more I was going to share with you is in Africa. This is the Maasai tribe located out in East Africa. And their average diet is, it says, their food throughout the centuries, they have depended very largely on milk, meat, and blood, reinforced with vegetables and fruits. So, I mean, a lot of times we're told that we shouldn't, eat too much meat, don't eat too much dairy, but like these people are thriving, and I mean, this tribe in Africa, they're very, you look at them, they're very well built. They've been thriving on this diet for years, and they're much healthier than the than the quote modernized people. So that's that. And other thing that really annoys me about it is the demonization of certain foods. In particular, I'm actually a big fan of saturated fats, and on the food pyramid they call them solid fats. But these fats, they're actually quite necessary for our survival. And I don't really know why they've been demonized so much, but I believe that it's because when people started getting heart attacks, their arteries and stuff were clogged with, saturated fat and cholesterol. But they somehow made the link that the dietary saturated fat we eat is what it has something to do with us clogging arteries, but that's not the case. The big killer is actually trans fats. Trans fats are anything like a hydrogenated, like vegetable oil, anything that's fried, a vegetable oil that is fried, basically. And that's the thing, is that these oils, they're very cheap. McDonald's used to use it, and like an animal fat is a lot more expensive, and it also increases the shelf life of oil. So it just makes sense for to use it like in restaurants and frying and everything. But I mean, it's been determined that these are actually the culprit of a lot of our heart disease and stuff. So, but saturated fat in general, even I also didn't mention that it comes in the form of like coconut oil as well. Also very good. And actually, a quick study I just wanted to share with you. A long time ago in the early 1900s, a farmer, he actually wanted to fatten up all his cows, and he actually gave them coconut oil because he thought, oh, it's so high in calories and everything. And what he found was actually the cows actually lost weight, and they were very active. And then when he fed them the soy again, supplemented their diet with soy, it turned out that's when they started to blow up. So really, I am actually running out of time, and I wanted to draw you my house of nutrition, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time. But I'll give a quick overview. This is the foundation right here, and that has vegetables, animal products, not to forget tropical oils. That's like coconut, palm. Olive oil is really good for you. And then in the basement, this is stuff that is also good for you, but it's just, I would say, because it's a little bit more dense in calories, I'd say like rice, or of course brown, like whole grains anyway, I'll put. And then fruit. And then the attic is where you want to stay out of. That's where all the monsters are. So that's like sugar, trans fat, and like, of course, high fructose corn syrup, which is unfortunately in just about every food. And so yeah, there it is. This is the house. Go with the house. Don't go with the pyramid. So that's all I want to say. I hope everybody has learned something, and thank you. I'll bring up Nate.